So Gran Turismo 7 in VR is so much better than 2D, but it's also so much worse. I'm going to explain in this video why that is completely true, and I bet by the end you're going to agree with me. So areas where this is so much better is, have you ever noticed in this Eigen Nordwand track, new track in G7, have you ever been able to just look at the train, just go like this in three-dimensional space and appreciate how big the mountains are, and you can see sort of people walking around and the incredible scale you have here in presence in 3D, and also the elevation. Like, I'm just obsessed with that train. If you look at this last corner here, going down to the start line, yes, we know in 2D that we kind of know that we're going uphill because we feel the car slowing down, we can brake a little bit later, and then we know that when the slope comes down again, that we want to get on the power, but be careful of oversteer because the car's light. But it's nothing compared to, it's absolutely nothing compared to what you get here. Look at the elevation that you perceive, and I'm going to go through the track here and just show you incredible elevation changes that you just appreciate more in VR. It's just a better experience, this. Obviously, we know again there's a jump here, but you feel the jump in VR. And as we go down these switchbacks, like I said, there's also areas where Gran Turismo 7 is just not as good. And bizarrely, it's just not very happy about something there. But we'll get on to that. It's by no means a perfect experience. By no means. Don't feel jealous if you don't have a PSVR2. You might just not have wasted your money. So coming down these switchbacks, and actually particularly the next one, like, did you ever feel this was particularly downhill? I never felt this was downhill in 2D. But have a look at this. Like, again, the elevation change here. Look at how steep this is. Coming down here, did you ever feel this was so steep in 2D? I didn't at all. This feels like a track that was designed for VR. And again, as you come up here, you can just see the elevation change. You do not get this at all in 2D, and it will make you a better driver as well. But we need to get onto the negatives, because I feel, honestly, I just feel like I've been one of the few honest people about PSVR2 since it came out in Gran Turismo 7. So many people seem to have got this headset for free and just said it's a 4K experience. It's not a 4K experience. I'm going to get onto that. And all in GT7 at least, every game is a little bit different. And also there are these quality of life changes. And I know if you're watching now and you're a GT7 player and you've got a PSVR2, you're going to be supporting me right now, because once again I'm going to put my head above the parapet and say what needs to be said. It is not good enough, GT7 in PSVR2 with the HUD. For example, if you want to be competitive at this race, in this car, you have to be so precise with the red line. Right now, I'm about 100 in the world. So top 100 in the world in this combination in 2D, right? And that's because I know exactly when to shift up, because I've got my shift up bar, my rev bar, and I know that if I even hit the limiter for a moment, the lap is gone. Now, in this car, you don't have that rev band, and don't tell me, oh, but you don't have a rev band in real life. I've got a floating HUD here and a floating HUD here. What I want, by the way, is I want one button to toggle that on and off, and not have to go into here in settings and display settings and turn it on and off here. I want one button to turn it on and off for the immersion. If I'm going to have a HUD up, I need to have my rev meter. And you can see here, I've got the revs on the car. But it's so much more difficult to focus in on that rev meter on the car than the natural HUD, which is placed to be in my sort of focus, where my eyes are focused. But we're going to get on to why this is difficult. The other reason is, oh, they're illegal. Sick. If you look at the positions, I can't tell how far ahead the next cars are or cars behind. That's crucial information in a strategy race. I can't tell the names of the drivers. I don't have that available either. Yes, I can cycle through the HUD here, but it's not going to give me the gaps to the cars ahead or behind, and it's not going to give me the names of the drivers, which is just unacceptable in a competitive environment. Like, this is what I mean by you cannot be competitive. You will be less competitive in PSVR2 than 2D, and I think that's unacceptable. And as always, on the comments of this video, you're going to have people who actually have the PSVR2 headset, who've bought it with their own money like me, who are going to say in the comments, yes, I agree, this is frustrating, we need a PSVR2 HUD update. And then you're probably going to have a few comments from people who haven't even watched the video this far, who are going to go, oh, you don't have a HUD in real life, it doesn't matter. Now, the other reason why PSVR2, and I've been spending a lot of time in PCVR since I got my PSVR2 headset, so that's the DPVR E4, the Pimax Crystal, and the Pimax Crystal Lite. Those headsets do not run with reprojection. They are not reprojected headsets. So what that means is the frame rate you get is the frame rate you get. Gran Turismo 7 is running with reprojection, and that's why we get this smear. Not only is the quality of the game graphics just not quite as good as 2D, although this is probably the best I've ever seen. I want to be completely fair and honest. This is the best I've ever seen Gran Turismo 7 in VR, but you still have this smudging, this reprojection, where it's not actually rendering every frame, it's guessing half of the frames, and that's why you get this blurriness. I mean, it's an amazing magic trick when you think that there's no latency and I'm able to move around without being sick, but it's not the same as PCVR. It's not the same as doing iRacing in 120 hertz, which is just like an arcade experience. It's just not quite as good. And so what that means is if you're here and you're looking at your rev meter, it's hard to focus on your rev meter as your vision moves and it's blurry and you're trying to pick out the 11.5 there. It's too difficult. So I would love to stream more Gran Turismo 7 in PSVR 2. I would love to do more. I don't know why they don't acknowledge this at least. I feel like I'm the only YouTuber saying this. We know a lot of YouTubers got the PSVR 2 headset for free, and maybe they're not doing as much VR because they don't like it as much, all very genuine reasons. But I'm going to keep banging this drum that we need to have these quality of life changes. They're not going to be able to improve the reprojection unless they give us a 60 FPS rate with no repro. That's probably not going to be good enough. Or they do what they do with the 120 hertz mode in 2D. They use those lower graphics and they give us like some kind of 90 hertz mode if the PSVR 2 headset can do it. And then on the PSVR 2 HUD, it's just an absolute no-brainer. So again, I've come into PSVR 2. It's a hot day. It's an evening. I've finished work. I want to race. I want to race online. I feel competitive at this track. I've gone top 100 in the world. And I want to do it in PSVR 2 in this open world cockpit car. And I'm just being held back. I'm just being restricted. And that's not a fun experience. I want to be set loose in this thing. We also need a button, by the way, that can just a one button to reset your view rather than holding it down, because you don't want to see like down here. You want to cheat it and then go like this. And I've got all sorts of tricks running, by the way. In fact, I'm going to show a video on screen now. All sorts of tricks to stop you feeling nauseous and things you should do with PSVR 2. So let me know what you think in the comments. Not a sponsored video, as you might have guessed. It's just my honest thoughts. Please subscribe if you agree and you want to see more PSVR 2 truths on the channel. And I will see you next time. I don't know what I'm looking at. I'll see you next time.